Hello, you're rolling out with Zach. So today is a Tuesday. I'm getting a little late start getting to the office, but I'm driving in now. I've got like a team meeting with my companions at Level Up, and then I'm doing a consultation with a out-of-state hire. I feel like I've mentioned that a lot lately. For whatever reason, I've just been getting lots of referrals for people moving out of state into Wisconsin. So that's just where I'm at right now. So this particular person is going to need to move in a couple months. Job transfer. Looking forward to helping them. And then I've got like another appointment this afternoon, assisting a family selling off a Plex, an investment property they've had for a long time. And it just makes me think, like, I mentioned the investment property thing before. It is a really, again, like, slimy landlords. I know. Like, if you can buy a house and then hold it as a rental, or like if it's a duplex, you can live in one unit and then rent out the other. That is the ideal way to get yourself into the market right now. I know that prices are high, and that competition is really fierce. But if you can get into a duplex, that's a really great way. If you only need like one or two bedrooms, if you don't need a huge amount of space, maybe you're a single person or a couple or a real small like family of three or something like that. If you don't need to have 5 bedrooms, rent out the other unit, and that's a great way to get yourself started. The cool thing about that is that like someday you'll decide that you don't want to live there anymore, because you're getting a job transfer. You make more money right now. You can afford the bigger house, and you actually need the 4 or 5 bedrooms now. You can still hold on to that house and continue to rent both units. And the whole time you were living there, you were collecting rent from the person above you or below you or whoever it is. And so now the whole time you've been there, you've been like basically having that renter pay most of your mortgage. And so you probably have money saved at this point. So then you sell that house. No, you don't sell that house. you hold that house, and you have all this extra money, and now you have 2 houses. The best part about that is this is what I did. This is what my family did. We bought a duplex. We lived in it for 10 years, and then we kind of outgrew it. Both my kids are teenagers now, and now we live in a single family home, and we still have that duplex. And at some point, one of my kids is going to need money. They'll need it for college. They'll need it to start their own business. They'll need it to buy their own house. They'll need a place to live, because they're going to school full time and they can't hold down a job as well. And campus housing might be expensive. So like one of my kids can move into that duplex, the house that they effectively grew up in. They can go back to it and rent it back out from me and my wife, and that's it. They rent from mom and dad. They have their own place. They're not living with their parents anymore, and we can do like a reasonable amount of rent for them. Or alternately, if they need a lot of money because they're going to school, like say they get into Harvard or something like that, or Yale or some prestigious school, then like that costs a lot of money. It's out of state. Well, gosh, what are we going to do? Let's sell that house, because that house we bought for under $200,000 in 2013 is now worth $350,000. By the time we roll around to 2030, it might be worth $400,000, and we'll have put a significant amount of money into that property by that point. So we're not going to owe much at all, and so we'll just sell that house, and we'll have all that money to put into my kids' college fund or future fund or whatever it is. I'm going to let my kids decide what they want to do. Obviously, I'll give them some guidance. But for instance, a 4-year college was not for me. I went to a grade school and did a little bit of community college and some extended some education here and there, and that got me where I am today. So whatever my kids decide to do, that's cool with me. They just need to have a plan around it. It's like can't just do nothing. You gotta figure out something to do so you can live your best life. So I'm trying to ensure for the future with them. And that's kind of what this other family did. From what I understand, the sellers are a little bit older now. They could use the money. They've owned this duplex for 20 years. Time to sell it, and they'll be able to take that money and put it towards their retirement, healthcare costs, etc. Whatever's going on with them, and that's cool. And then someone else will be able to buy it and use it as their home or their like house hack or something like that. I think it's really important to be responsible as a real estate agent, who you take on as a client and who you decide to represent and how you represent them. I mean, everybody deserves to have representation, obviously, but I don't want to work with somebody slimy. I don't want to work with someone unethical, and I definitely don't want to pull the rug out from anybody. So choosing which buyers I work with directly, taking on referrals, being selective about it, or even when I give out referrals, I don't just give it to the agent that name I heard one time in a Zoom that just happens to work in the city where my client wants to move. You know, I'm gonna call, I'm gonna interview, I'm gonna do my research. So when someone called me yesterday saying that they got my name from a friend or whatever, and they were going to be having a client to move into my area, and they were interviewing agents, you know, I put my best foot forward, but I didn't expect it, you know, just by default. So I appreciate the fact that they are interviewing other agents. And if I don't win that one, that's fine. You know, maybe depending on who that person is, their client, like the other agent that they interview, might be a better fit personality wise, because this is a highly personality driven business. You know, every single agent has to do what they can to show their prospective clients that they're the best person for the job and that you're going to have a great time working with them, because you know, I don't need to get to know the salesperson at a furniture store. You know, like my time in there, maybe I come back twice, maybe I'm in there for like an hour because I'm buying like more than one piece of furniture. But more often than not, like when I bought a couch, I go in there, the salesperson helps me, and as long as they don't tell some kind of offensive joke, it's like they're fine. Like I don't need to have like a deep conversation with them or anything like that. You know, there's no question from the salesperson about like, hey, why are you buying a couch? It's like, well, because I need to sit somewhere. But when someone asks me to help them buy a house, I got lots of personal questions for them, because I need to know a lot about who's going to live there, how they're going to live there, what's their goal. I mean, there's just so much going on, and so yeah, that's just my spiel coming into work today. I'm at the office now, just parked, and so it's really important that everybody be their authentic self all the time in this business. You don't win any points for putting on a mask, and you don't earn any new clients just because you're pretending to be someone you aren't. Sure, you may alienate someone based on whatever personality tics you might have. I've certainly got mine. If you've got really strongly held beliefs or opinions about who gets rights and who doesn't, or you know, how you vote or whatever, and if they're on the bumper sticker on the back of your car, know that you're probably going to alienate somebody, but you might also win over someone else. Someone might realize that, like, oh, you know, this guy, this person thinks like me, they're going to be a good representation for me when it comes to it. And again, like I have represented buyers and sellers on, you know, multiple sides of the political spectrum, so it doesn't necessarily bother me to work with somebody who say like a little bit more conservative, as long as that is not the focus of the reason that they're buying the house, or if that's not like they're making crude jokes or whatever, you know. And it's like, and I can keep my personality in check. I don't necessarily have to call them names or anything like that, because we're adults, we can get along. But that said, when you go online and you're interviewing agents and you're looking at who they are, what they believe, I think those things matter. You know, it's not just who has the biggest sales record and who can hide the best online. You know, if you look at their Instagram and it's all just like just sold, just listed, accepted offer, if it's all promotional graphics, yeah, it shows the success, but it doesn't show who you are. All it shows is you're a sales machine, and not everybody's looking for a sales machine. Some people are very comfortable working with the realtor. Think about the realtor that you know that's in your office, or maybe the one that helped you, who only sells like 4 or 5 houses a year. And yet that person still stays in business because the people who chose that realtor who only sells 4 or 5 houses a year, the people who chose them weren't looking at their sales record. They were looking at who that person is, who they are. And so it didn't matter that that person only sold 4 other houses before. It mattered to them that the other agent was like them and thought like them and acted in a way that seemed appropriate to them. On the flip side, maybe that person only sells 4 or 5 houses a year because they are a bad person and they've only managed to attract 3 or 4 people in any given year that actually like them enough to do business with them, and they're constantly fighting against it. So think about who you're attracting, think about the kind of people you're attracting, and know that, you know, for me, like, it's not that I don't like working with luxury clients or $1 million houses, but I've always said I would rather sell 10 houses to $100,000 clients than get $1 million client, because that's going to set me up for future success, because 4 out of those 10 are probably going to recommend me to another person, and I'll get another, you know, four deals out of that, and then it'll domino. Whereas like that $1 million person, you know, my biggest client I've ever had came from a referral from an agent outside of the state, and that person, even though they bought a tremendously expensive property, has never referred me business since then. They like me and I like them, but because of the kind of person they are, they live out of state and they bought a vacation home here. They don't know anybody else who's looking to buy in Wisconsin. So it was nice. It was nice to get that, to have that one sale, but hey, that was 3 years ago. I need more money today. I need more sales today. And so I like working with those local people who are going to refer me more local people. All right, peace. I got to go to work.